Hello everyone, I'm Hillary with Dominion Tea, and today we're going to talk about Bai Hao Silver Needle. So this is one of the most expensive teas on the planet. Why? It is hard to harvest. It has some really special characteristics. So Bai Hao comes out of Fujian, China, which is in the Fujian province. It is a smaller, relatively speaking, Chinese town. For America, it would be pretty big. It's got over 1 million people who live there. But Fujian, being home to white tea, has been producing Bai Hao for centuries. Bai Hao comes from specifically 2 different cultivars that are prized for the size of the bud. So Bai Hao Silver Needle is actually the bud of the tea plant, and part of the cost of that is harvesting just to get to a single bud, because they've got to hand pluck it and then separate it. And they're not going to just pluck the bud. They typically are plucking the bud in the first leaf, because like other plants, if you cut where it's growing, it will stop growing the rest of the season. And that's not the goal here. It's just to harvest the bud. And so they'll cut the first leaf and then they're going to hand separate these. So there's one layer of labor that goes into it. The second layer that goes into this is really watching these buds. The buds have a very special characteristic. We call it silver needle for a reason. They grow naturally, these fine silver hairs on the bud that are meant to protect it from sunburn and from insects. And those fine hairs were believed to be life-altering. It was supposed to keep the emperor alive longer to consume them. And the value and the price tag for Bai Hao goes up. The more those hairs are there, the more apparent they are before you brew, and the capability for them to still remain on the tea leaf after multiple brews. So I've got on the tray here 3 brews. The reason I do that is your first steep of Bai Hao is going to be very light, and for an American palate, it's going to feel in your mouth a lot like water. This is a tea you want to sit and pay attention to, because what you're looking for are those floral and grassy notes you're going to get in the fragrance as you swallow. You're not going to get a mouthfeel that's going to help you kind of determine flavor. So you've got to pay attention while you drink. This is not a mindless cup of tea to drink while you're at the computer screen. The second steep is going to be thicker and heavier. So what's fun with playing with Bai Hao, this is a white tea. So you want a cooler water temperature, but you don't have to stay cold. You can start, like this is all brewed at 175, and you can work your way up with hotter water temperatures and later steeps. And in fact, some of our Chinese vendors will tell you they'll happily brew Bai Hao at a boil after about the 3rd steep. And so why do you want to do that? You want to play with the flavor, but you want to be able to smell that grassy floral fragrance. The fun part is those silver hairs really are going to come out in your tea. They're so small, you're not going to feel it. They will maybe give you some mouthfeel, but you're going to stretch for it. And don't think that probably isn't the power of suggestion either. But what you're going to enjoy is a truly fresh version of spring. When we film this, we're at the tail of February, so they have started the harvest in China for Bai Hao about this week, going into the first couple of weeks in March. So this is Bai Hao season. It will go in the markets in China very quickly, and it will disappear very quickly. So Bai Hao very much is usually consumed same year, within a couple months of when it is harvested. That's not to say they haven't aged it. So you can absolutely age Bai Hao. Now, most people will tell you it's going to oxidize, which is absolutely true. So your Bai Hao that's a year old is not going to taste the same as your Bai Hao that is a month old. However, that's not a problem. What you're going to get is, at least for those of us in America, we're going to get our heavier mouthfeel back that we might be a little bit more used to. You're going to get a little bit more woodiness as opposed to that grassiness. But it's still a beautiful cup of tea. Eventually, it will turn itself green, though. They do age them in the cakes, which is a lot of fun, and a totally different video we'll have to talk about later. But the thing about Bai Hao to sit and appreciate is, yes, this was the emperor's tea back in the 1700s. It started importing into Europe, they believe, with documentation around the late 1800s, and really started to make its way here into the States in the 1900s. It's a gorgeous tea in and of itself. It's worthy of the price tag that comes with it, especially if you're the type who wants a tea that you have to sit, be mindful with, and enjoy. So go explore this absolutely gorgeous first tea of the season. We hope you enjoyed learning more about tea with us. Hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified when we add more videos to our channel. And check out the highlighted videos to learn even more about tea. And last but not least, you can check out all of the teas we talk about in our videos at dominiontea.com.